Okay.
We need to do our stuff as well.
Good evening. Welcome to the show. And before we do our little introduction, our little spiel, I'd like everybody to know our thoughts and prayers go out to the hurricane and flood victims in North and South Carolina, and I guess extending towards the states of Virginia and West Virginia as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we hope that everybody is safe, and we hope they make a quick and speedy recovery there. With all that, I'm Bubba.
And we are the Filipina show. And we're the Filipino show. Hi. Hi, everyone.
Hello, everybody.
Good day. Hi, everybody.
I hope everybody is doing fine
I
wherever.
hope everybody's safe.
Yes, because that was that's terrible when you see things like that. Um, I was reading that a 3-month-old baby died. They were in a 3-month-old infant. They were in a living room with the mother and father, and a tree fell on the house. And the father managed to get out, and I guess the woman had to pass the infant through a window, and he got the infant to the hospital, but the infant died. So terrible.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Sabi niya may namatay na
Oh. Oh.
Well, natural calamities are always sad. So,
It's a part of the Philippine weather, but a lot of the government has to make necessary precautions and warning systems. And uh now our guest, she's she's actually she knows a lot about this calamity. Why is it happening, and what not to do, and all the preventive measures. So this is actually an informative show for us tonight in relation to what's happening, especially for those people who live in those areas and in this season. Okay. So she can now introduce herself because she'd rather do her own introduction than I. I don't know anything about her.
may pipindutin.
Hi, Baba, and everyone. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you tonight?
I'm doing great. And thank you for inviting me in the show. I am Kesh, and I teach at the University of the Philippines. And that's a university here. And that's I think that's the best university in our country, right? And I teach all about the environment, but I focus on the marine and the freshwater systems. So all about water.
Okay,
But
cool. Now, do you scuba dive?
I just had a little experience on scuba diving, but I study the one on the coastal zones. Do you know the part of the beach area and the seagrass and mangroves?
Okay, cool. You know, it's funny. I have not really seen mangroves here, and where I lived at in the U.S. in Florida, there were mangroves everywhere.
Oh yeah, because they like tropical weather.
Uh huh.
And where do you live?
Well, I live in Davao.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't
Bec-
see mangroves here.
Mm. And I think they like a certain sunny weather, and also uh, the substrate. It should be like sandy and muddy soil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
it
why
is.
a lot of mangroves are here in the Southeast Asia and also parts of Asia.
Okay. Yeah.
But I have, besides from studying the marine environment, I also know about a lot about environment because my graduate studies was environmental science. And right now in the Philippines, we just had a um, very big typhoon. I think the international name was Mangkhut. Have
Mm-hmm.
you heard about that?
No, I have not.
Ah, but the Typhoon Haiyan years ago,
I remember that one.
you
Yeah.
remember that? That typhoon has around 280 kilometers per hour.
Mm-hmm.
The winds are 280 kilometers per hour. The one that we had right now was around 220 to 230 kilometers per hour. So
Mm.
it's a big typhoon and it covers almost about half of the country.
Wow.
Yes, it's that big. So um, we experience a lot, and right now it devastated China, in Hong Kong and parts of China.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't care if China gets crushed. They got plenty of people. Hell.
Oh yeah, a lot of floods. I watched it earlier in the television. They experienced China experienced flooding. Yeah,
Okay.
but here in the Philippines, it's a bit sad for us right now because there was a big landslide in the northern part of the country, and it's a mountainous area,
Mm-hmm.
and they are still digging because a lot has been buried uh, with that landslide. They did not expect that they will experience landslide.
Okay.
Yeah. And how about, I heard earlier that uh, you also have a hurricane?
They do in the U.S. It hit north. It came ashore in the southern part of North Carolina, around I think Wilmington. And I guess the flooding's so bad around the city or whatever that they have to airlift in water and food.
Oh, but everyone is safe, and
There's been
the
18 fatalities so far.
how many?
18.
18.
Yeah.
Oh, so that the hurricane was also a big one.
Yes, it was quite big. I've got a quick question for you.
Yeah, sure.
Somebody in the chat asked, "What are the official languages?" There's five official languages here, correct? Ilongo, English, Visayan, Tagalog, and which one am I missing?
There are a lot of languages here in the Philippines. Um, I am not sure, but around uh, around 170,
Yes,
around like that.
but there is five official languages.
I the one that a lot of people, um around 8 to 12, 8 to 12 dialects.
Yeah,
So
and how many do you speak?
8 to 12 official languages. that a lot of us can understand. So, Tagalog, Bisaya, Ilonggo, Ilocano,
Bicolano,
Bicolano,
Kapampangan,
Kapampangan,
Ilocano,
Cebuano, Pangasinense,
Oray.
and Waray.
Tagalog.
So those are the
Major dialect.
8 major dialects or languages that we have.
Okay.
Because if you actually if you actually look at the geography of the Philippines, our islands are not connected. It's composed of what do you call this? 7,107 archipelago. Yeah. So our languages, although one may differ a lot from the other, the neighboring islands actually has a lot of similarities with each other. It's really interesting because from one place, like from the ground level, they have a different dialect. If you go to the mountains, they have different dialects or something like that. And a lot of the languages are also affected by the neighboring countries like Malay. It has the Philippines has a lot of history. And yeah, Spanish, especially Spanish,
Mhm.
Chinese, Indonesian. So a lot of the words had been inculcated with our language
Okay.
because of the traits.
According to this, okay, is Tagalog and English are the most widely are the official languages are Tagalog and English.
Mm-hmm.
But the most widely spoken would be Cebuano or Visayan, is because generally speaking, people outside of Luzon speak
Mm-hmm.
Visayan. They don't speak, in their everyday dealings, they normally speak that.
Okay. Well, officially, it's Tagalog and English, but now our government is trying to inculcate mother tongue. It is introduced in the curriculum of all elementary students. So wherever place you are in, the major languages are taught to the students. So because they want to retain the history and the culture of the Filipinos. So, because a lot of words or a lot of languages has a rich history, so it reflects a lot of what happened in the past.
A lot of the Tagalog words right now are being lost because of the widespread use of English, and they'd rather a lot of the kids actually right now they don't know what bombilya is,
What is
or yeah, bombilya is light bulb, something like that. Even simple in Tagalog. Yeah.
okay?
Hmm.
I gotcha. Okay,
Anyway,
I
uh,
should ask our guest what made her decide on a career as a marine biologist.
when I was studying, when I was undergraduate, we had a lot of field trips in the sea because the beaches here in the Philippines are very good, and we have a lot of corals and seagrasses, mangroves, and different fishes. And when you take a look, when you swim, the water is very clear, and also the sand is almost all the places that we went during college was we have white sand beaches, and that made me chose the career path that I'm in right now, and protecting the Philippine environment is
very interesting, and we have a lot to do because almost all of the Philippine lands are very rich in environment, especially the coastal zone because we are archipelago. We have a lot of islands. We have 7,107 islands in total.
Wow, a lot of islands. I didn't
Yeah, in
have
high tide, but in low tide, 7,300 islands.
That's funny. That's a good
Yeah.
way to put it. I've never heard that before.
Yes.
That's funny.
Very nice. You should visit here because Philippines has the best beaches.
Yes, yes, they do. I've been to some of them.
Ah, very good. Where?
Uh, Over by Jensen. I live in Davao.
In Davao.
Uh huh.
Ah, that's our hometown.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, that's where you're from?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
The dialect there is Bisaya, and
Yes.
Cebuano and Ilonggo.
Okay, cool. So, what part of Davao you from?
In the city, just
Cool.
in the city. Yeah,
What
I
part?
think Ken has a question.
Okay.
Actually, Baba, we were born here in Laguna. She's, as I've told you, she's my sister. Her name is Kasha. My name is Kanesha. We're born here, but my parents are born in Davao, Oriental, tama ba? Somewhere there. So
Okay.
a lot of the brothers and sisters went to Cebu, to all other places of the Philippines. Anyway, I have a question for my sister
Okay.
because we rarely get to talk about other stuff other than just sleep. Um, in relation to her career, because I've watched it in the news a while ago. Because of the typhoon, a lot of the trash in the Philippines have been ang tawag dito, dinala, have been trans somehow it got carried back to the shore. Does it always happen like that? Like whenever there are typhoon, a lot of the what's that force, or is there something, is it really bad for the natural species? How would that affect the livelihood of the
Thank you for a very nice question. Actually, here in the Philippines, we have a main problem for our solid wastes. If if the community is not disposing their garbage in the correct way, and they just throw it in the river or in the beach, hoping that the waves will wash them away to the ocean. Once, if there's a typhoon or a rain or big waves, it will go back to where it came from. So when we have garbage on the sea, then the waves will just transport that back to the coastal zone. And and if the garbage is stuck on the river, it will cause flooding. And that's why here in the Philippines, when there's a big typhoon, you will see some places with trash just floating in the water. And we have to clean it up. And right now, if we have that problem, I think a lot of Filipino people are more educated now that they should uh, throw their garbage in the garbage bin. And also we are required now to have a big landfill wherein all the trash will be processed correctly. And it's a good way uh, to develop the minds of the Filipino people that we should take care of our environment because it will just go back to us if we won't.
One thing I've noticed, I don't really see waste treatment plants here, wastewater treatment plants here.
Ah, yes. Because only big companies are required to create their own waste treatment plants. Not all the companies because they cannot afford it. But for the community level, we have before we have open dump site. That's a small um, treatment facility. But now every local government units, because every province have a local government unit. So every local government unit are required now to have their own landfills. And that's a new law that we have to follow.
What do they do in landfills? Do they segregate and segregate this from this, incinerate, segregate biodegradable from degradable?
Yes, they segregate the ones that have biodegradable, and then we have non-biodegradable, and then one more segregation is the hazardous wastes like waste from the hospitals or batteries and light bulbs. So all of that will go to the hazardous waste. And we also have the reusables. So like the plastic bottles or papers, everything that can be recycled, they just that's a different treatment. So we put that on the materials recovery facility so that it can be recovered and be used to other purpose. And for the landfills, because here in the Philippines, we are not allowed to incinerate. Some countries like Japan, they use incinerators. They burn their garbage. But here in the Philippines, we don't have that facility, and we are not allowed also to burn our garbage. Because if you burn garbage, carbon dioxide will be emitted. And carbon dioxide is one greenhouse gas that causes global warming. And in the long run, that's climate change. So that's why incineration here is not allowed.
So what do we do instead of using incinerators? What kind of treatment do we do for our garbage?
Just the landfills.
Just landfills.
Yes.
So
Sooner or later, it's gonna pile up. It's gonna it's gonna need a lot of land accommodations.
If the landfills are already used up and the life cycle of the landfill is done, they will cover the trash, and then they will use the land for a different purpose. Like they will let the because they have this treatment that have a good way that the land can recover on its own, that the trees can be restored, and then they can use that as maybe other land purpose like um, some of them, they test the soil and gardening is okay, and some of them they use that they build not houses but buildings that is okay to be built on the under on the top of the used landfill.
So how long does it take for a landfill to be filled?
Around 25 to 30 years. So that long. But the trash is very efficient. They process the trash very efficiently. So just I think they can maximize the landfill.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Huh. So you think they're doing a good job here of trying to improve the environment?
Yes, definitely. The environmental efforts here in the Philippines are good, are very good, because a lot of laws and policies are in place. In fact, the Philippine environmental laws um, are being used as one of the major references for other countries, because all of the environmental acts for the air, for the water, for the solid waste, just everything about the environment that we can imagine, we have a policy here. So that is a very good move. However, the weak spots here in the Philippines are the implementation of the policies and laws. And right now, the president is an action man, and he is teaching us how to implement the laws uh, very properly, like that.
Oh, okay.
So what I've observed here in the Philippines is, though a lot of the laws have had been existing for a few years, for even decades, but it doesn't actually reach the community level. It has a lot of regulations, but for example, if I wanted to segregate my own trash or our waste, waste. But once we segregate it, then they take it from us. It gets it gets mixed up. So it becomes our efforts becomes useless. So I guess that's the main factor why waste segregation here is still waste management here is still poor. And a lot of the because of course a lot of the citizens here doesn't actually know the repercussions if they use too much of non but they non biodegradable waste. They buy unnecessary products, or like, have you noticed here, Baba, that there are shampoo sachets instead of wholesale?
Yes,
Have you
I
noticed? Do you have that in the US?
no. Everything's
Yeah,
in
that's what
big
I'm talking.
containers.
Uh-huh. So that's, I think, even the coffee, it's in packs.
Well, I think part of
One
that
time.
too. I think
Mm-hmm.
part of that too boils down to economics. Filipinos, your average Filipino tends to live day to day, whereas your average American lives week to week.
Yeah. But actually, it's a lot more expensive to buy individually packed.
Oh yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
costs more money,
It's
I think,
also
to go
relates
by
to
sachet.
financial literacy. Uh-huh. Yeah. a
we
lot
are
a lot of
generating a lot of
a lot of
progress.
aspects to improve. Anyway, I
Okay.
actually in relation to in relation to the weather here in the Philippines, in relation to the recent events, I also have a question for my sister since it's related to her profession. So we were talking about the landslide a while ago, Baba. Did
Mm-hmm.
you remember? Okay, so there are a lot of mountains here in the Philippines. There are a lot of hills, but why do landslides happen? Does it relate to the kind? Is it related to the kind of soil, to the number of population, to the proximity to mining areas? Why do you think specifically those landslides happen in those areas?
I do not know.
I mean, that's directed to my sister. Go.
Ah, because I heard in the news because right now we are experiencing southwest monsoon. And southwest monsoon, that's a natural phenomenon here that because of the southwest monsoon, we are experiencing a rainy season. So a lot of days was rainy already before the typhoon came. So the soil got very wet in the mountains. And when the typhoon came with the big winds, strong winds, those the soil itself was not able to hold the water. That's why we had just a landslide
Mm-hmm.
on the, if you know Baguio, that's the one with the very the area near um the rice terraces, Banawi rice terraces. That's one of the UNESCO World Heritage sites before. So that's the mountainous area in the north. And that's just we had the landslide that we were talking about earlier. So because of the continuous rains and then typhoon came and the landslide happened. And also we have here in the Philippines what we call the small scale mining.
Mm-hmm.
So the communities or maybe families or the local community, they can do little mines and they create pockets. They dig in the mountains to find it depends on the minerals, maybe gold or copper. So they dig in the mountains and create little pockets. So those pockets, they it made the ground unstable, and that worsened the condition of the mountains. So when you have wet soil because of the rainy season, and then those little pockets from the small scale mining, that created the landslide, and that's what happened. So a lot of houses got buried, and also a chapel full of people. And right now the government is actually taking care of the place.
Okay. Huh.
Okay. So I guess in our well the community here in the Philippines is learning a lot from what has been happening. So I guess it's a matter of self education and preventive measures to decrease the number of casualties. Anyway, so going off topic now. It's an interesting question asked by one of our audience. Uh, what is the best? What are the popular sites in the Philippines? they ask. So actually, since there are a lot, when you go to a place, you actually form your itinerary based on the activities you would want to do, because a lot, like for example, this person want to go to city to to witness modern architecture. It my wait our recommendations would be different if you would want to go to historical places, to beaches. So I guess so,
I can actually recommend if you want to visit the beach here in the Philippines, the Palawan. That's a very good place to go, or Boracay. But Boracay right now is they are cleaning up Boracay so that they it can be open again at the end of the year, around November or December. It's open again, and if you want mountains, in Davao, in the southern part, the tallest mountain is the Mountain Apo, and a lot of mountains and natural parks are very good here in the Philippines. Also, where I work in Laguna, we have Mount Makiling. It's a natural reserve, and we have a botanical garden there. You can visit us. And if you want historical sites, because we experience a lot of wars here in the past, World War I, World War II. We have this historical places like Corregidor Island in Bataan, where they can experience. It's an island that have a lot of tanks or structures that they can see, uh, that were part of the World War II, and Fort Santiago in Manila, and museums, and also we have a very good one in Cebu Island. So a lot of historical parks also, and so a lot of choices you can visit. Also, the food is great here. Those food enthusiasts, they can taste all the delicacies from the very well-known adobo, or it we have this sinigang that is like a tom yum from Thai. So it has a sour taste, and also a Spanish inspired dishes.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think a lot of the Spanish-inspired dishes have more of a sweet taste to them.
Yung Spanish inspired dishes na mas sweet taste na.
Wow. Because food here in the Philippines is inspired by a lot of different countries where that colonize our country, or those who have trade, especially Chinese, Spanish, even American and
Yeah.
Mexican food. So most of the food are um, coming from all countries. So or just a variation of the neighboring countries, like what Atike said, that tom yum, the sinigang is just a variation of tom yum. So when we went to Vietnam, the food or the delicacies are quite the same here in the Philippines. So there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Excuse me. Okay. I guess we should probably start wrapping up this.
Yeah.
I know your friend wants to go to bed, and I know you ladies are tired, and I'm tired.
We had a very long day.
Yes, I believe it. Uh, now, any idea what we'll talk about next week?
Probably we'll try to get again
Okay.
our guest supposed guest for today. So we're not sure. We're trying to figure out her schedule.
Okay.
Hopefully we can get her back today.
Okay. Not a problem at all.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, we appreciate. I forgot your name, sweetheart.
Mm-hmm.
Your friend coming on, your sister.
Sorry, Baba.
What is your friend's name?
Oh wait. This one.
It's Kesh.
Kesh.
Kesh, yes. Kesha.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you
Nice to
coming.
meet you.
It's a pleasure meeting you too. Maybe someday we'll be able to actually meet face to face.
Yeah, sure.
So,
Looking forward to that. And I enjoyed our conversation and thank you for inviting me in the show.
anytime, we'd love to have you back again sometime.
Okay, thank you. Sure, just send me a message.
Okay, I'll friend you on Facebook, I guess. I'll have Ken
Okay.
type PM me your profile link, or she could send you mine or whatever. Tell I'm getting tired. Instead of saying mine, I said mind.
Okay.
But yes, yeah. And anything you ladies would like to add, Louie, Ken?
Anything? Just keep safe. So disaster or natural calamities are normal. Just be prepared and keep safe. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to say thank you for all those people who's listening to us. Um, I hope everyone's safe and everyone's prepared for whatever weather you are at right now. And that's it.
And with that, we hope everybody's safe and may the sun be shining wherever you may be. And thanks again for joining us. We appreciate each and every one of you. And we look forward to spending time with you again next Monday.
Bye.
Bye. Good night.
Good night.
Well,
Good night.
I really hate this new setup.
What? With the YouTube? Thank you. Why,
I
what's up, Baba?
am looking for the Hangouts.
Is it a lot different?
It's a bit different.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I can't find it.
Mm.
It's really bizarre.
Baba, did you see the difference of an episode with an outline versus an episode without an outline?
Yes, I do. I see a
Yeah.
um. Yeah, because now are we off air?
I don't know.
You're still live, oh.
You're still, I guess you're still live.
We are.
Wait a minute.
That in the northern, they are still digging.
Okay.
Okay. So
we're, we're
still
not
live.
yet offline.
Oh, we are.